We're going to start over. Give me 1 second here. All right. All right, I'm in the bottom left of my screen now. Should be good. If I'm too large, you let me know. So Steve Jobs said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. I know everyone who's here, everyone who makes these calls, everyone who watches this content, you're here because you do not intend on living someone else's life for them. You're going to be forging your own path. You're going to be successful in whatever way you want to be successful. And I'm just here to help you get there. So that's why I chose that today. Starting this week, so for all this, we're going to be talking about content. Today, we're going to talk about what good content is, and I'll show you some examples of good content and some examples of bad content. You want to avoid the bad content as much as possible. Unfortunately, we don't know what we're doing wrong a lot of times. So it's one of those things that as you get better at this, as you improve, you will see that the content comes naturally to you. So don't stress if for whatever reason you are not able to get good content right away. I promise you, you will get it. Anyways, to our cartoon, we finally found a way to get people to engage with our content. A little cheeky, right? A little cheeky. So content. Pretty simple word. All it means is what you put out into the world for people to consume. Your content should be something that people want to do one of three things. It should educate them, it should be engaging, or it should be entertaining. If your content doesn't fall in at least one of those things, it is bad content. And that feels like if you can't hit one of those three things, that's a problem. And here's why. That hits just about every single thing that you could be doing when you're online. Are you asking? Ask a really simple question revolving your product. You're engaging with your audience. Tell them something about your product that they probably don't know. You're educating. Make them smile. Make them forget that they're there for a minute. Make them forget it's a sales pitch in some way or another. That's entertainment. You have three things that you're allowed to do to engage in your content. I apologize. To build your content. Engage, educate, entertain. If you do not do those, you're wasting your time. So let's get into some examples. So does anyone know where this still image comes from? This was an ad campaign that was really big this year during football season. So if anybody knows the brand name, let's say it's the product name that this comes from, just go ahead and throw it into chat. If you don't know it, it's okay. I'm going to give you guys like 10 seconds. The reason I say this, what they did for their ad campaign really solidified them to kind of be synonymous with football in America on Saturdays and Sundays, even though it's not something that you would see at a tailgate very often. This is Dr. Pepper, and they were the official tailgate sponsor this year of whatever tailgate. And you saw these commercials and you were thinking football. There's the Dr. Pepper can right there. You're thinking football on Saturday for college or Sunday for professional. And to anybody who's watching this that may not be in the United States, that's American football with the oval, not the soccer football. We can't say football. We're not smart enough for that. Where you actually kick the ball with your foot. So a good engaging campaign. This was amazing, and it did great things for Coke. Share a Coke with. And what it did is it took a very boring, everyday product that people were consuming, and it made them think about what was on the bottle. And more than once, I went in and I looked at the Coke, and I was like, share a Coke with who? hey, I wonder if I could find my name. And it got me engaging with their brand, with their product, and with other people. So it was a good thought out marketing campaign. And then they started adding in brand names on top of this. So they were able to sell advertising space. It was insane. Great idea by Coke. And I think they're still doing it. I don't know. But you could personalize your own bottle if you wanted. $5 for a bottle, an 8-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola. $5. You could get a 12-pack for $5, which is sad. Um, Sad that I know that. I used to drink a lot of Coke. I love Coke. Washington Post. They did some amazing things over the last, I would say the last decade. I think they've been around for a little while now. I can't tell you the exact amount of time, but Washington Post does great things with their content. But one of the things that you're going to notice about content here is that you want to do lists because people want to know what's on that list. And I was in the car yesterday with my wife. We're driving home from dropping our kids off at their dad's house, and I was telling her about, you know, blog posts, and she's like, "Well, I wouldn't read a blog post." I said, "Well, what if I told you these are the 7 foods to avoid if you're trying to lose weight?" She said, "I'd probably read that. That's a blog post, and it's a list. But you want to know what those 7 foods are and why to avoid them. You're intrigued, you're engaged, and you're about to be educated. And if you're a good writer, you might even be entertained." So that's the key. A list does a lot of things, but it's also a psychological thing. People want to know if it's something that I would usually put on the list. Did my item make the list? And they're going to want to see all the way through. And maybe they're the skimmer who says, "Oh, item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, darn, it's not on the list," and they leave. Or maybe they're the one who wants to be educated and they say, "Oh man, my New Year's resolution was to lose weight this year, but I just keep eating the same stuff. What should I avoid?" That's the basis of that list. And you're not trying to get everybody in the world to read your product or your content. You're trying to get your target audience to read. So write to them. Know who you're going after. Because we're about to watch some abysmal failures on Instagram. And if you are watching this, whether it's live or on replay, and this is you, and I'm making an example out of you, number 1, I'm sorry. Number 2, reach out to me and I will help you out with content. And I'll do it free of charge. So let's get into it. Hi, Tina. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Number 1, I put in entrepreneur, and this is what I got. House sellers, myhousesellers.com just sold. And it's not appealing. And it's talking about one of their REOs. I don't know what an REO is. I'm not engaged because that I don't know what they're talking about. Okay, fix and flip, or own possibly a home to upgrade. Interested in bank-owned foreclosures. Like, they're not asking me questions that get me to engage with their content. They're asking close-ended questions. An open-ended question around, and I didn't read this before. I just pulled it up. I saw this and I'm like, wow, that's bad. An open-ended question around foreclosures could be, tell us about a property around you that seems not well maintained or is vacant, and then we'll tell you, hey, it's probably a foreclosure property, or hey, we'll talk about share sales. I don't have one off the top of my head, so that's like a terrible example, and I'm really trying to make this work out, but it's not. They're not doing anything to engage a broad audience, and they're really, this is hyper focused. They shouldn't be going into the entrepreneur section of a hashtag. They should probably be going into a fix and flip, or let's say foreclosure. I don't see foreclosure on there. So it's like, that's really not good. And you're right, that image is just visually unappealing. Light gray on white. It's just huge. Everything about this is just a turn off. So that's terrible content. I just want to stop for a second. If you show me a stack of money, I am so terribly disappointed in you, because it's not, the money's for you. This is completely stroking your own ego, because I'm sorry, your $100, $600, $770 isn't really that impressive for somebody doing Forex. It's a $5 trillion daily market. $770 on a laptop and an old cell phone. and that's an old laptop. Look, tell me about how it's going to impact my life. Don't show me that you have $770 that you got out of the bank and put on your laptop, all right? Tell me how I can use your system to improve my life. Tell me, ask me a question. What's one product that if money weren't an issue, you would own right now? It's an open-ended question. And then you just got me to engage, because I'm gonna think in my head, that's the boat that I want. That's the Labradoodle that I can get, whatever it might be. I don't want a Labradoodle, please, no. But when you ask an open-ended question, like, what would you buy if money weren't an issue? Not infinite possibilities. And there was something put in chat. You should put your hashtags in comments. That's actually something that's been going back and forth. Hashtags in comments, hashtags in post. I've tested both, and my sample size is a little bit small. I got about 2,000 followers on a page, and I'm not seeing any kind of difference in post engagement on one or the other. So I still need to give more data on that. All right, guys, we're gonna move on to the next trading one. Okay, I'm sorry. Trader Tracy, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. Start a profitable Bitcoin investment today and share your own testimony tomorrow. Like, okay, maybe that's like borderline, but the image isn't something that really speaks to me. And yes, this is 100% a scam, but disregarding that for a second, let's just say that this is 100% legitimate and Bitcoin trading, these people weren't just a huge scam trying to get you to invest $500 in the hopes that you get 5,000 tomorrow. So let's just disregard that and talk about the merits of the engagement. They're not doing anything to engage you. They're not asking anything thought-provoking. They're not giving you any kind of info. Now let's flip this script. And let's say, how can you earn money while you sleep? If you don't know the answer to this, you will work until you die. Start a conversation with me today, and let's make your testimony tomorrow. It's not, they're so close. And these scammers are getting so much better every day, but they still miss the basic concept. They're going after the people who don't know any better and hoping for quick money, right? So we want to avoid that, but don't ever scam anybody, please. If you learn from me and you scam somebody, I'm very disappointed in you, and that's the most dad thing I can say to you. And I would say that, and I say I'm very disappointed. I'm sorry that that's how you used it. Right here, again, please don't tell me how many millions of dollars you're getting. I don't care. It's not about you. It's about me. Remember, it's all about your customer. If you said, I've got this to send to you today, that's different. They're just saying, this is what I got. Look at me, I've got money. I don't care. This is all self-stroking ego. No, don't do that. She stopped. I actually stopped because this was scroll stopping. It was so bad. It was scroll stopping. Don't. But her writing is actually pretty decent. She's not half bad with the writing, but the image itself can use a lot of work. But she's a phenomenal writer. She's just not a good graphic designer. So like this part of it, the left-hand side, and I'm using my hand if you can't see the touch on the screen. The left-hand side, her, not good, but her writing, she is pretty decent when it comes to writing. Again, throwing money at me. Don't be afraid to invest. I'm not afraid to invest. I'm not going to give you my money for that. I don't know you. Like, you're not asking me any questions. You're not engaging me. You're not educating me about finance and trading. And I'm not entertained by some woman who I don't know holding a stack of money, which doesn't even look like a currency that I would use. So yeah, exactly. This is old news. Don't do it. But believe it or not, there's still going to be people out there. This message should reach somebody who then hopefully changes their mind about this. And if you have to tell me something's 100% legit, it is not 100% legit. That right there is proof that this is not 100% legit. It's like my son coming to me and saying, I swear I'm not lying. You know, if you just told me the truth, I wouldn't think it. Swear you're not lying. I wouldn't think you were. But let's take it at face value. Just be honest up front. Educate, entertain, and engage with your audience. This is not doing that. So the last example before we get anything, this guy right here, no time for these frads. Well, I don't know what a frad is, but he says no time, but he actually took the time and effort to put this out here, and all he's doing is making me not want to ever see his face again. So don't do that. Your audience is Switzerland, Volvo, I don't know. your audience is important to you, don't be flipping them off unless you're telling them, don't be like this guy. In which case, guys, I'm flipping you the bird today. I hope you like it. I showed you some examples of content, and I showed you good content, showed you some really bad content, and showed you some mediocre content. But why am I doing this? Over the next week, we're going to be talking about how we build a content marketing strategy, which means you have to understand, this is not something you just wake up in the morning and you say, hey, I think I'm going to write about this today. You have to know what your message is. So you say, hey, I'm going to be talking about natural remedies for things. So all of your content marketing has to build around natural remedies. So health, holistic health, how you can use your diet. You can even, is it Socrates, let food be thy medicine, or is that Plato? But it's those things. Those are the ways that you can engage with your audience and put out content. And you can educate them, but don't speak over them. Don't be like, hey, look, this is, some amazing drug, and here's the scientific facts behind it, and here's the lab test. Don't do that. They want to know what's in it for them. So they don't need to know everything. Filter some of the information out, but you have to give them some stuff. So content marketing is huge. So what I do is every Sunday I sit down and I plan out my week. So Sunday afternoon, I try and make as many videos as possible, so that way I don't have to make them during the week. All I have to do is just edit. And then Sunday in the evening, as I'm driving out with my wife to drop off the kids, we got about 2 hours in the car. So I'm writing down ideas. I'm thinking through things. I'm bouncing things off of her, and she's looking at me like I'm weird. That's what I do. And it might be different for everyone else, but you should probably sit down and write out a week's worth of things that you want to do and you want to put out to your customers, and then plan out when you're doing it. So it's not just whenever I get it done, I'm going to put out a video a day. I'm going to try and put it out around 3:00, and I'm going to do that every day. Most days I'm going to hit probably 3:00. But I have to know what the video is going to be about. I have to know why it's important to you. It has to be of value to you, or it's going to be useless. So just things to think about with your content. So what we're going to be doing over this week is building that content, the content marketing, and using a strategy. So we take a day, we plan out our week's worth, or you take a day and plan out a month's worth of stuff that you want to push out, okay? You have to make sure your content is engaging. This is why it's important to do it early on. So if you plan out a week's worth of stuff, it's all engaging. You're not struggling to figure out, hey, this is what I need to do on this date. Okay, cool. So your content will then come naturally. So hey, I'm going to talk about holistic health or acupuncture. I'm going to talk about acupuncture every Tuesday. So you have to get 52 articles on acupuncture. What are you going to do? So you have to understand, hey, if Tuesdays are going to be my acupuncture days, and Wednesdays are going to be my detox days, and Thursdays are going to be whatever days, keep a theme. Your audience will love you for having a theme, right? Now your content has to be high quality. You can't just, well, it's Tuesday, so I'm going to find an article that I read a quarter of and put it on my website. It doesn't work like that. So take the time, go through your content, and then one of the things that you'll hear me say, and I don't like using acronyms, but this is one I got from working at Verizon. They used to have what they called SMEs, or subject matter experts, and I just love saying SMEs because it reminds me of Smitty from Hook. So you'll have SMEs. They're the ones who understand a particular subject better than anyone else. Don't try and know everything there is to know about everything. Be the best you can be, whatever it is that you can be, and then farm the rest out. You're not good at writing about acupuncture because you don't care about acupuncture. Don't write about it. Go get articles. Go get videos. Go have someone write an article for you. Don't waste your time trying to be the best at understanding acupuncture. And then consistently deliver. So if you've been following me since the beginning of the year, I've been putting out content every single day. I wake up, I post, I put videos out, I have calls, I work with people on a consistent basis. I don't just wake up, hope that something happens and then react. I'm very proactive. Be proactive about your delivery, and you'll be amazed at how quickly things come back around. So this is a pretty decent content strategy that you would want to do. To see, you have your plan, you have your content, you're the expert in your area around you, and just consistently deliver. So there's 5 steps to an effective content strategy. And this might change for people, who knows? Maybe you have 6, maybe you have 7, but this is as basic as it gets. So you need to align your content with your target audience. So what does that mean? Well, so if you want to reach out to people who are, we'll go with diabetic because it's something I've been talking about with somebody. You're not going to start talking about all the delicious sugary foods. You're going to start talking about health and how you can manage their health or help them manage their health, whatever it might be. And then also, you're going to be talking about how it is that you're going to work with them. So you need to build a content strategy that takes your customer all the way through what you consider your sales funnel, your sales pipeline. So maybe cold traffic, you need to talk about the benefits of 5 different foods when you're diabetic, a type 2 diabetic. And then, then they're hooked and they think you're an expert. Great, cool. And then you just kind of dive a little bit deeper. And every time you're building up that credibility until the point where you're ready to sell them something. So you make sure that whatever it is you're trying to sell them, you are giving them quality content, because when you go to ask for that money, they're going to believe that you have the best product available because of that. So just think about when you're going to ask for money and how you're going to ask, and that'll take you pretty far. So an audit, nasty word, but content audit. You take what you have available to your customers right now and take a look at it. Does it still match up, and is it still relevant for customers? So in a year, after I've done all of this content for training for everybody, is it still relevant? Do I need to update anything? Does something not work anymore because changes in algorithms? Is SEO drastically changed because a different style of AI came out that's changed big data? Who knows? But if you're looking at content that's a year old and it's no longer valuable, you're not going to trust that person. If someone were to tell me, oh yeah, no, you won't have to do CBO ever, and I'm watching 2-year-old Facebook content, it's not relevant anymore. Yeah, sure, we've passed a couple deadlines, but eventually it's going to be what you have to do. And if they tell me, no, never do CBO, I'm sorry, but if it's only the only option, I have to do it. So plan. My wife tells me this all the time. Failing to plan is planning to fail. If you don't plan out what you're going to be putting out, it's going to not make sense. It has to have some kind of cohesion to it. It has to make sense. Product or content A leads to content B, leads to content C. Or you get content A on Monday, B on Tuesday, and C on Wednesday every single week. So like if you have a structure to your content, it's planned out great. Or it just builds up to a sale at the end of the week or something. But make sure that you have a plan. And then when you're doing a content strategy, it's just like advertising. Make sure your links are something that you can track. Use Google Analytics. And Google Analytics has a tracker that shows you what page led to what next page. So if you have blog post A that's supposed to lead to sales page B, and you notice that people going to blog post A only go to sales page B 4% of the time, you know you're not doing well. So make sure Google Analytics is installed on your website. If it's not, then you need to do that, because you need to go through and you need to measure how well your content strategy is doing. And then lastly, plan your distribution. This just goes back to how are you going to get the information out? Not when, but how. So are you going to be putting information out? Are you doing videos? Is it going to YouTube? Are you going to be doing press releases? Where's it going? Have a plan. Are you going to be putting flyers out on light poles? Whatever it is that you're going to be doing, have a plan to do it. So that's really all I had to talk about on content strategy and good and bad content. So what we're going to be doing over the next 2 calls is actually building content out. And so what I'll do on the next call is I will take, and if somebody wants me to do their content strategy, send me a message either today or tomorrow. So that will be, what's today, the 13th? So either the 13th or the 14th. So if you send me a message either on the 13th or the 14th, on the 15th, I will no longer be accepting messages. Send me a message. I'll build a content strategy for you. After we'll have a little conversation on the 15th, I'll build it out and then we'll talk about it without any kind of, unfortunately, it's going to be out in public. If I don't get anybody, I will build my own and then show it back to you. No big deal. I just want to give you an opportunity to do it for you if you would like. So with that, I'm going to leave it open for questions. We did go quickly today. I've been super energetic for the last 2 days, so I know I'm talking faster than usual. And yeah, so if you have questions, put it in chat. It does not have to be about content. It could be about dropshipping. It could be about anything at this point. So how can we improve our content writing skills? I used to be a part of a group, and every single day, I'd write a post in the group, and it would be a long form post. It would go about all the things that I learned the previous day, all the things that I'm going to try in that day. Right. And get it out there. What you'll find is that every single day you'll improve your writing. It's a process, and if you don't do it, if you fear that you're going to get negative feedback, you're going to get negative feedback even if you're the best content writer in the world. So pushing that aside, just write, get creative, write about whatever you want to write about before you start writing content for your product or your service or whatever. But get comfortable with the idea. Have conversations with people that go beyond the cursory. Oh yeah, how's life? How's the family? How's the weather? Are you doing anything crazy this week? You going out drinking this weekend? Huh? Let's go. Have a conversation about something that you're passionate about. Critical thinking goes a long way. Sorry, I did get a private chat, and it's something I'm taking care of in private, so I try not to write too often in chat when we're on calls. I didn't want that to go unanswered. It's important. I bet you there's still stuff up from October of last year in that group, but I can't see it no more. They kicked me out. They put me out on the street. Oh, and the other thing, if you're not comfortable in your writing skills, have someone else read it before you put it out online. My wife rips me to shreds every time I show her something I wrote. She's like, that's stupid. Why would you put that there? Do this. Just make sure it's someone who cares about you and wants you to do well. Because they're just gonna rip you apart for no reason. That's not good. And hey, I just want to say thank you again. Monday? It's Monday. 9 people on the call live, knowing that it's getting put on YouTube. I really appreciate it. I do. Doing these live calls for people, is a lot easier than just doing a training. Yeah, well, that's because you're over in Europe, in Turkey. It's Tuesday, and as we continue forward, as we continue to do this, they should be getting a lot better. This is it's foundations, kindergarten. If we went back to kindergarten, it'd be boring for us. But we have to build a good foundation, and getting through the boring parts, I appreciate so much. and hopefully, when things start to pick up, when there's something that I can help with, it's a little bit new. Um, it's we're here. So real quick question to everybody, and I love your insight, and whenever you guys give me feedback, it's super helpful. After these calls, I wanted to continue doing some live calls, and I wanted to do them in a different fashion. And I was wondering if there's any kind of live call other than like training that you would want to do, because I know in other groups they would have live calls about, I'll critique your ads, or I'll go through your stores, and I think that kind of, it's a little bit invasive, and if you want me to, I will. But if anyone has an idea about what we could do for live calls after this first training, because what I'm doing along with these live calls is I'm building out the training platform, and doing videos. I'm releasing a video a day, even on days when I do calls. So just some food for thought. And if you think of something, message me. Okay. I could do, so like tasks. You mean like store tasks? Oh, homework. Okay. 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 Did you find any? So back when I was doing, and I'm going to answer your question in a second, Jose. When I was doing the weekly, where I did 4 calls a week, and it was, this is how we find a product, this is how we do it. If I did that in a more concise 1 call a week, do you think that would be valuable for people, or do you think that would get stale quick? Like, I would give you guys 1 product a week, and I wouldn't upload that to YouTube. Like, it would be a live call only. And then that we could do product research and build up the product, build out a quick ad video. Okay. Anything? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll put that on the list. Digital product ideas. So yeah, so instead of doing like a 4-day product, Jeannie, instead of doing the 4 days where I built a product, found a product, built a page, and did everything, I would do it over the course of a call, explain the reasoning behind the product, do some product research. Or even if I do, like, what if I did a night a week where we did some product research together? Okay, I'd be down for that. I'm just trying to figure out, what would work for people, and I really, I don't want it to get generic and boring, because that's what happens with these things. Is you start off with the best intentions, and what happens is over time it just becomes repetitive, boring, and anybody can do it. So to everybody still here, I'm going to be trying to get on these calls 1 hour early every single night. Get on at 5 o'clock. Today I was watching Tetris with Florian, and we were watching video games on YouTube, and having a conversation. I will do a video editing class for you guys. I'll do an entire master class. But yeah, I'll get on here. I'll be doing what I usually do when I have downtime, but I'll be talking with you, and maybe something will come up that'll be a nugget. So if you guys ever want to hang out for an hour, great if you can make it. If you don't, I get it. But yeah, I'll do a video editing class for everybody, and it will be more in depth than just. Oh, sorry, my cat's moving. It's gonna be more in depth than just saying, "Hey, we're going to cut this video up." I'll even show you some really nifty tools that I found to find 1080p videos or better. So that way, when you're putting together a good ad video, it's not just these crappy cell phone image ads that everybody's so used to. So Jose asked, how much is the one-on-one? So right now it is $297. It is 16 55-minute sessions. I say 55 minutes because I know how I am, and I'll talk to you for 2 hours. But 55 minutes, and I got to try and get myself into the habit of, after that 55 minutes, actually getting off. and leaving the call, because I like to start the call and actually ask you how you're doing, and that's not part of your call. Like, hey, I want to know. I want to make sure you're okay. When I heard about the earthquakes in Puerto Rico, I reached out to every single friend that I knew was in Puerto Rico on my friends list, not because I needed to, because I'm genuinely concerned that everyone's okay. Even people who we left on bad terms, it's important to me. Each one of you is incredibly important to me. I kid you not. I talk about y'all a lot, and the more you interact with me, the more you can, the more you can talk about on a daily basis. So. I was originally planning on doing up to 15 one-on-ones per month. I don't know if I'll be able to, because there's a couple of things that came up that are very good, but it might break into that. But for now, I'm still leaving it open. We've got 14. We're still shaking. That's a bad thing. We've got 14 more spots available for this month. And I'm going to kind of audit that as I go, because I may have something that's going to be taking up a lot more of my time. But I'm going to still, the whole point of these is when you think about that, 16 hours plus my prep time, which I usually prep for about an hour for every call. So it's about 32 hours just in live calls. So I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it for as cheap as possible without my wife yelling at me. I'm just kidding. She would never yell at me. It's not about making money. There's other things I could do. I can go get a regular job. It's about helping. So I really do. I want to be here. I want to be helping. I go into, and you guys are going to laugh. You may be a part of these groups. You may not. I go into all the different econ groups and I answer questions all day long while I'm working. I even made a video for somebody today to help them out. I made a video yesterday to go through a concept that somebody didn't understand. So I'm here trying to help out when I can. Again, seriously, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know it's still in its infancy. We've been doing this for 10 days. And in 10 days, I can already tell you that my life's changed dramatically again in a positive way. And I hope that I'm helping impact everyone else's life. And remember, after this week, it's very product focused. So we're going to be going in and kind of building our brand and understanding, how products fit into a brand. So really excited. And I'm just rambling now, mostly because, I'm out of content. Just kidding. So is CBD legal? So there's a question, is CBD legal? And it is in a lot of places. So if you were to, you have to know exactly where you're allowed to sell to. So if you're ever unsure, Google. And if you're ever unsure and you Google and you're still not sure because you didn't get a good authoritative answer, avoid it. Or call the local government. Hey, is CBD legal? I think in the United States, if I do a search, I think in the US it is. We're getting a lot more friendly with cannabis too. That's a debate that doesn't belong on camera. Yeah. Okay, so here's the cool thing about advertising and Facebook and CBD. You don't need to be on Facebook to advertise CBD. You also don't need to advertise it as CBD. I'm sorry. Every time I get on these calls, I get a weird indigestion. It's my anxiety. And there's nothing anyone can do to fix it. It's on me. So what you would do, create a holistic health funnel, right? So let's just talk about holistic health for a minute. And you say, hey, look, traditional medicine it's poison. You're gonna have to say something about traditional medicine and reach out to people who believe in the idea of alternative medicine, herbs and teas and supplements, as opposed to Prozac and pills. And then you put them into a landing page that is let's just say it's a questionnaire. Have you ever taken a substance or a natural supplement to cure this? They say yes. Okay, great. And then we move on, we move on. And then what you're going to do is then you're going to deliver. After that, you're going to deliver them an email that says, hey, thank you so much. You're going to be a great fit. But also on your thank you page, let them know, hey, look, we have a great product for you. I think you'd be a great fit. And then, because Facebook is not going to fill out those questionnaires and then continue on down the rabbit hole. So as long as you, and this isn't cloaking, but I'm using the word, as long as you kind of cloak your intention, you can get away with a lot of things on Facebook. Just don't do that as often as you might want to. You're gonna have to be very selective. Now, CBD itself, as long as you don't say that it will cure something, you can't have an unsubstantiatable claim. And that's what Facebook's going to do. So you can't say, hey, CBD oil is going to cure arthritis. We don't know that. And the FDA, I think, is the one who would do that. They haven't done enough trials to say that it will. But what you could say is CBD oil can help with pain related to arthritis. So it's all about the way that you word things. It's not going to cure arthritis. It's not going to remove the pain of arthritis. It will help treat the pain associated with arthritis. And you can't say, hey, do you have arthritis? You could say, CBD oil has many different medical benefits, including treating pain associated with medical conditions. So if you just take the time to find the right wording, you'd be amazed what Facebook lets you get away with. Hey, thank you for that great question, by the way. We got anything else? Oh, and if you hear me tippy-tapping on my keyboard and I don't answer questions because I'm looking it up and I have no clue what I'm talking about. That's a joke, by the way. Fix is still not firing. Hey, man, I got a call after this at 7, and I know it's late for you. So if you're still up after my call, I'll shoot you a message. But you were looking. I saw you on camera. You're looking a little bit tired, man. So don't feel like you have to stay up unless it has to be done tonight. But if I can, I'll get to it and I'll help you out. Moving and shaking. Okay, guys. Maybe just depends. I'll message you. I promise. I won't go to bed until we're done. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let everyone else. You're no longer, class is dismissed. You're no longer forced to be here. Next call, Wednesday. Everyone have a wonderful evening. It has been a pleasure. Thank you again for showing up. I love doing these calls. I love doing things live. So much more fun than doing the recorded trainings. So I'll see you Wednesday, 6 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel.